If you think that healthy soup can't be creamy, indulgent, and comforting, then this one will change your mind. With broccoli and potatoes, you can make the dreamiest, most flavorful bowl of soup that's fully plant-based and affordable. Oh, and by the way, my name is George. I post a new plant-based cooking or recipe video every Wednesday and Sunday, so be sure to stick around. I'm going to make this mirepoix fairly small. I'm going to go for about 1 centimeter cubes. We're going to be starting this recipe by preparing a mirepoix, which is essentially just onion, carrot, and celery, slowly cooked in butter, but in my case, I'm going to use olive oil. You could also use just veggie stock if you wanted to. This is going to create the base flavor of the soup, so it's worth not rushing it and slowly cooking these vegetables until they release their lovely aromatic flavors and natural sweetness. Typically, the ratio for a mirepoix is 2 parts onion and 1 part carrot and celery. All these onions are making me cry. Whew. For the potato going into the soup, I'm going to peel it. That's just a preference of mine. But for the roast little cube potatoes that are going on top, we can keep the skin on as they're going to get really nice and roasted and caramelized. You want to use a variety of potato that is high in starch and low in moisture. I'm going to be using these Maris Pipers, which is a nice floury variety of potato. This will be different depending on where you live in the world, so just go on Google and look up what your most floury variety of potato is. Using this type of potato, it's going to break down, soak up the moisture of the soup, and it's ideal for making a really lovely creamy soup. And then we'll just dice this a similar size as the mirepoix, about a 1 centimeter dice. The garlic we're just going to crush and mince. This is probably my favorite way to prepare garlic. Literally just crush it, that's going to get the skin off. And then because we've crushed the garlic, it's almost going to start mincing itself as we slice it. For the herby roast potato topping, we're simply going to dice a couple of potatoes. Once again, we're going to do about a 1 centimeter dice. So they're nice and small and they're going to get nice and crunchy in the air fryer. Almost like croutons, but in my opinion, better because little roast potatoes, you can't really beat them. For the broccoli, all I'm going to remove is just this thin little dry bit at the end, and that is literally it. We're going to use the whole head of broccoli, including the stalk, and I actually love just eating the stalk raw on its own, just as a little snack. I used to have a dog called Boots, and whenever we had broccoli for dinner, we would share the stalk together. We would actually call it snork, and yeah, it was a nice little fresh snack. And then you can really easily remove the florets, just sort of rotating the head of broccoli while slicing down. It's just a really easy way to do it. And then as you get to the end, you can just do the same like so. There you go. And then we'll make all the florets roughly the same size so that they cook nice and evenly. And to avoid making a massive mess with the broccoli, just cut through the stalk and then gently pull them apart. And then you'll have 2 separate little florets without making a mess. We'll just dice the stem, and if you want to, you can sort of just take out that outer layer of skin, which can be a little bit tough. But generally I don't really worry because it's all going to be blended up. And then with this, we'll just go down the middle and then make little batons and then just dice that up. Going a bit smaller than the florets because they're going to take a little bit longer to cook. I don't know about you guys, but I love a nice bit of organized mise en place ready for cooking. Get your larger saucepan and we're going to pop that over a medium heat. If you're thinking that this pan looks like it's a bit of a weird shape, it is. It's just sort of warped in the heat. It's supposed to be a sort of eco-friendly pan, but it's just warped a bit under the high heats. So I'm going to start with about a tablespoon of olive oil. Feel free to use veggie stock if you want to make this oil-free, of course. We'll add all our mirepoix ingredients, the onion, the celery, and the carrot. Also going to add a nice pinch of sea salt to start drawing out the moisture from the ingredients. Give that a mix, get everything coated in the olive oil, and we'll just let that sweat down and cook for at least, I'd say, 10 minutes until it's starting to soften. So that is looking good. It's starting to soften and get a little bit of color on the edges. So we're going to move on to the next stage and add in our minced garlic. And then I've got about a tablespoon of fresh rosemary and a teaspoon of dried thyme. Probably 2 of my favorite herbs, rosemary bringing a lovely sort of piney, savory flavor, and then the thyme is just lovely and lemony, earthy and sweet. The first restaurant I worked in was a French one, and we used a lot of rosemary, thyme and garlic, so that might have influenced me just a little bit. And we'll just let that cook for about a minute. Next we'll add in the broccoli, the diced potato, and our vegetable stock. Pop a lid on and we're just going to bring that to a simmer. The soup is now simmering away nicely. I'm going to get the lid back on and we'll cook it for around 15-20 minutes as all the pieces are fairly small, so it's not going to take too long. And we'll get on with those roasted potatoes to go on top. Almost forgot, I'm also going to add the cashews just so they can soften up while it cooks. I'm going to keep this really simple, just add the potatoes to a bowl, about a tablespoon of olive oil, give that a quick toss, and then I'm going to go for 2 herbs. I'm going to use oregano and some dried thyme. Just keep it really simple. Of course, a good crack of black pepper and a nice pinch of salt. And these are going to make the most delicious potato croutons. And then give that another toss. And these will take a similar time as the soup, about 15-20 minutes in the air fryer. Final few ingredients, we're going to go for a nice grating of fragrant nutmeg, about a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Actually, we're going to go for a tablespoon and a half, lovely cheesy and nutty flavor. 1 teaspoon of white miso. Miso might seem like a strange addition to this soup, but it adds a lovely tangy, salty umami and fruity note, which I absolutely love. And a teaspoon of whole grain mustard. Also the juice of half a lemon. And last but not least, a good grating of black pepper, and then we'll get it blended. Okay, I might have overfilled this blender just a little bit, but we're gonna roll with it and hopefully it'll be okay. Just make sure your blender is heat proof, and if it's not, let the soup cool down first. Now to serve it up, just got a little bit left in the blender. Beautifully smooth and creamy. And then we'll top that with a good sprinkling of these crispy roast potatoes. Definitely be generous with them. I'm going to do a little extra sprinkle of nutritional yeast. And when I tasted it, I think I just wanted to add a little crack of black pepper. And that's going to be perfect. Super creamy. Potatoes are great, just add a little extra layer of texture. Really delicious. Oh, that is just super creamy. It doesn't taste too like broccoli-y, if you know what I mean. And then it's got a lovely tangy, cheesy flavor coming from the mix of nutritional yeast, the lemon juice, the mustard, and also the miso. All just sort of comes together to give it a nice sort of background cheesy note. Really delicious. Give it a go and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. If you want more soup recipes, then check out this video.